Becky, it's interesting because there's clearly a sports link to the help that you get. So I don't know, would it be because you're the Olympic medalist for the Canadian women's hockey from 2010? Or is it because I know that Lizette's family are involved with sports, but as I watch, like I said, I follow social media, I see your auctions, the ideas, and you've got some great names from the sports world helping out. So talk to me a little bit about that, how that's come about and what you know.
Well, to start with, as I had mentioned, it was my son and Lisette's son playing hockey together, and I was actually the coach. So, and then Lisette's son has become a very good hockey player. He's been drafted into the OHL. And, but the way it sort of progressed is, you know, I've got the hockey background, our kids play hockey. Let's run a hockey tournament as a fundraiser. And so that became our biggest fundraiser every year, was a youth hockey tournament, where we would have all these kids, mostly from Burlington. But as the years progressed, we had kids coming in from as far as Barrie, and I think we had a boy from Sarnia come in the one year. And so it became a pretty big thing. It was a one-day tournament, and we raised a lot of money, which was fantastic. It obviously we couldn't run it this year, so that was a big part of it. And then Doug Gilmore became involved, and so you may know Doug lives in Burlington. And it's funny because we were sitting there the one day, and Lisette said to me, "You know, Doug Gilmore lives in Burlington," and yeah, like everybody in Burlington knows that. And she's like, "Well, I'm gonna send a message to him and try to get him involved." And I kind of laughed. I'm like, you know, good luck. And sure enough, he got back to us, he and his wife, and they have just been amazing advocates. And I mean, he and his wife both will come into the hospital and visit with patients with us. And he's obviously a household name. And when he walks into the hospital, the eyes light and the heads turn. And it's been so great for patients, and the fact that he's been able to donate items and have some of his connections donate items. And so it's been a help that way too, and certainly fun for us. And so yeah, there seems to be this big hockey theme to it all, but it's just sort of how it's all worked out.
And it's great because, you know, I mean, those well-known celebrity names bring a following, right? And so people do get involved, which is great with that. So if you were to put a wish list together of what you want from people. So we've got a big audience of women who have attended Power of the Purse over the years. They understand that we profile a charity of choice all the time, lend a voice. So money, help, volunteers to go into hospitals, like what is the buying items, or like give me a sense of what makes the Angel Project run the best and have the most impact.
Well, money for sure. That way, when we get our list, the asks come in all the time. We'll get an ask from a hospital saying, "Hey, I've got this patient. They need a wheelchair. They need to get home. And so that's all just money, as well as our Comfort Care Fund that we provide the hospital. Sometimes gift cards are even great too, and just for little things like even like a Walmart, because patients will need clothes, right? They might need a new pair of pants or a new shirt or slippers or whatever the case may be. So things like that can go a long way too. We still are collecting shampoos and conditioners, and I believe that sort of more comprehensive list would be on our website of the different things that we put in those care kits as well. And so we'll collect that stuff all year round. We have been had a storage unit donated to us, which is great because this used to just completely overtake Lisette's house. And again, it's been donated to us. We don't pay for it, so which is fantastic. So I mean, all of those things are great. I mean, the biggest obviously would be the money or even the gift cards, just because the need never ends and it's constant. And I know we've had, you know, a little battle on the board where we've had a request, and you know, right away, Lisette's like, "We're doing it, we're funding it," and our accountant will be like,
darn accountants.
yeah, we need a bit more money before we can do that. So again, with our biggest charity event of the year, our hockey tournament not being able to do that, and then we've always been a part of some golf tournaments that help us out as well. And so if those aren't able to run, you know, it makes it very hard to secure money that way.
Certainly, 2020 has you know, had a huge effect on a lot of nonprofits, and especially with those fundraising events, the ones that require people to get together. And so, you know, I can understand that you're obviously having to come up with other ways, right, to get that that money in the door, keep people interested, et cetera. So do you have anything was there an online auction going on, or am I making that up? Did I see
There
that?
was, it actually concluded prior to Christmas,
Okay.
and we will likely run another one.
Mhm.
But that one did wrap up, and it was fantastic. And for anyone out there who is a sports fanatic, married to a sports fanatic, certainly watch out when we have another one coming, because again, especially having Doug involved, he's got access to so many
Yeah.
great items, and his connections have access to so many great items that it's well, it was great Christmas shopping. Like, I got my husband a Wayne Gretzky autographed hockey stick at last
Yeah.
year's auction, right? So some stuff like that, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But it's down right now. It completed. So, but there will be more of that as
Yeah.
well.
But good for you guys to, that overused word pivot, but we're all saying it, right? But that you're able to pivot and come up with at least another event to bring some dollars in, right? So I mean, good for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
you know what? We've been fortunate too in that we've got what we call our angel ambassadors. So we started running this hockey tournament. My son is now in grade 11. He's 16, and I don't know, they were about 8 years old when we started running this. So those kids have sort of grown up with this, playing in the tournament, and so a lot of them give back now. And so we actually will get donations from the kids that used to take part in the tournament, right? They'll canvass their school and they'll come in with boxes of, shampoos and whatever, or they actually just show up and they help. And we've got some great kids involved now, which is so amazing to see them. And they do it of their own volition. Like, most of them already have their volunteer hours. It doesn't, it's not even about that, which is amazing. And they'll show up and put in a day's work to help us, organize our patients' Christmas gifts or
Super.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that has been really amazing
Yeah.
to watch those kids to participate like that.
And that is terrific, that next generation, right, is understanding philanthropy and being involved in it, because that's who we have to rely on as our population ages and sort of the volunteer cohorts become older, and you want that, right? So I mean, that's terrific that that's happening. So good for you. Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
And did I see
absolutely.
there was some jewelry for sale on a social media link that one of the young hockey players has made, and I think there's some of that going on, right, too, that you can support that if you want.
Yeah, for sure. So Lisette's son, Mikhail, he has his own clothing brand, Sunny Isles, and you can find that online. And obviously he donates a big portion of that back to the Angel Project as well. He's been very, very involved in all of this since he was just a little tiny tyke, from when she used to take her kids in to have them sing to patients at Christmas time, on to, the many things that they do now. And so he's been very active, and he's doing very well in the hockey world as well. So it's great because he becomes more he becomes more known
Yep.
on
More
the
of an
internet.
influence. Yeah.
Yeah, it's certainly more of an influence. And so so he's got his clothing line, which has been great to watch as well.
Good. Oh no, this is terrific. Well, I mean, I think it's a wonderful organization. I intend to commit to you to do more. Absolutely. This year, as I say, we had talked about having the Angel Project as our charity of choice for the in-person conferences. So we're expecting to do this in person in the end of October, 1st November, 2021. So let's all think vaccine and we'll be there. But anyway, but in the meantime, though, I thought it was really important to launch the year by talking about the Angel Project and saying, look, there's a lot we can all do. We can make donations. We can gather up our book club group and ask them to gather up supplies and things, gift cards, whatever. But let's just get involved, because it clearly is a small step every time makes a huge difference, right? Especially, like I said, I just can't imagine what it would be like to be in the hospital for a long time and literally be forgotten, right? I mean, that's just, as you said, like, that shouldn't be happening in Canada for sure with our healthcare. So let's make sure, right, that it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and that's what drove me to become involved. Is I looked at it and went, you know what, that is my worst nightmare, right? To be left and to be alone and be completely forgotten. And so, and I think for most of us, and the problem is, you think, well, I'm surrounded by family, this would never happen to me. But some of our patients were in the same boat. Some weren't. Some were kind of loners their whole life, but a lot of them had family, and gradually through the years, they drifted away or they passed away, or So this is literally something that, any of us could be in this position one day. So
Absolutely.
try
I
to make.
found, just to close out, I found a quote again on your website, and it was apparently the words of one of your patients that you had helped, and it said, "The Angel Project and its volunteers are truly angels that walk among us." And I thought, oh, isn't that something? But that's exactly what you are. So Becky, listen, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. Thank you to Lizette and what she has. Imagine what has come out of just a conversation at the front entrance at Birdwood Hospital those years ago, right? I mean, it's amazing, I think, where these ideas come from and how these things organically grow. So, I mean, congratulations, well done. We'll make sure that all the connections are on the show and people can see it. And we'll stay in touch and we'll see how 2020 works out. But this is terrific. And I appreciate you sharing the story. I think we want to bring a voice to these folks, right? Who need it.
Well, thank you very much. And thanks for giving us a voice. We rely on word of mouth, so we really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. We're on it. We're with you. Okay. So thank you so much, Becky. I appreciate it.